Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today we're talking about Schumann's Rhenish Symphony, his Symphony number 3, which I just did a little bit of a chat about, actually, in my talk on if the tunes are great, the form doesn't matter, because the Rhenish Symphony's first movement is the ne plus ultra of non-developing development section and the misapplication of sonata form. Well, not misapplication, but not quite understanding what to do with it. It doesn't matter. That's the whole point. The point is the tunes are wonderful, and Schumann, once he gets stuck, as he does, and he's going round and around, he finds the way out, and that glorious horn theme, and it's just wonderful. So the Rhenish Symphony needs two things for a great performance. It needs to have propulsion, and it doesn't mean speed. That's totally different from speed. It needs rhythm. The very opening, da 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 da, is a, I think they call it like a hemiola in the music biz. But I mean, what it is it's a duple rhythm imposed on a basic triple meter. Because once the tune gets going, da 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 dum, bum ba da 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 da, because it's da da 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's how it's moving in 3, and the opening is da dum bum ba da 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 da. If you do 1 2 3 1 2 under that, you'll hear how the rhythm of the tune cuts across the basic meter of the piece. That creates tension. And that tension is expressed in the music's feeling of forward momentum. And of course, underneath it all, the strings are going chugga, 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 like this. So it should feel energetic. It doesn't have to be fast. It has to be rhythmic. That's what matters. And then there are the orchestral problems, because it's late Schumann, and by then his orchestration had gotten worse and worse. It had clogged up because he was a lousy conductor, and because he was a lousy conductor, he tried to orchestrate in such a way that it was safe, which meant everybody doubled everybody else, and his orchestration is very, very thick, even though the orchestra is not particularly large, which means that woodwind parts and things that could be colorful tend to get swamped. And conductors deal with it in many ways. They deal with it sometimes through dynamics and balancing of textures, because you can play the original orchestration and it can sound just fine. Or they use certain adjustments, such as Mahler's retouching and things like that, which works really well, depending on how you do it. Anyway, this recording that I'm talking about is Carlo Maria Giulini with the Los Angeles Philharmonic. It's in this box, Giulini in America, Los Angeles recordings, but it's in all kinds of Giulini boxes. It's a wonderful performance. And I have to confess, I really was not sold on the piece until I heard this version. It just impressed me as a kind of drab, colorless thing. Of course, I hadn't heard the Savalich Schumann cycle at that point either. I just knew that when it came on that it didn't interest me particularly. But this is a performance that does, and it does by virtue of the fact that it's not too fast, but it's extremely rhythmic and propulsive. The horn playing is glorious. He uses some of Mahler's touch-ups here and there, actually, especially in the counter statement of the main tune, which is canonic, where he has the horns instead of just the woodwinds, which are almost always inaudible, play the counter statement of the tune after the strings. And so you hear the canonic interplay. It's delightful. I mean, the second movement is just this wonderful Ländler, beautiful waltz-like thing. The slow movement doesn't dawdle. It's a little lyric. It's a short movement anyway, but the last two movements are fabulous. Ooh, the fourth movement is really a prologue to the finale. It's a bit of liturgical counterpoint with the dark trombones. It's supposed to represent the Cologne Cathedral, and it's sort of ecclesiastical tone, and it's so beautifully done. It's so rich and wonderfully sung and spun out in big, gracious paragraphs. And the finale kind of just lays there. It's unavoidable. You may notice that the finale of Mahler's First takes a bit of this. The part in Mahler's First, it goes da 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 bum ba da 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 da. Well, that's in here, basically. That part's in here. Again, Giulini achieves gravity and excitement and a fulfilling sense of movement without pushing it, without forcing the music to go so quickly that it sounds like something being forced to go fast that doesn't really want to. Now, you can do it quickly. It can work too. It all depends on the performance. I mean, and the handling of the orchestra. There's a million ways to do it. But the truth is, this is absolutely beautiful. And Schumann symphonies tend to come in clumps because there's only 4 of them. They fit nicely on 2 CDs. And people do cycles, and they do cycles without really, I think, lavishing the care and attention on each particular symphony that they might deserve. And the wonderful thing about this one is that it is a singleton recording of a symphony. Giulini had done it before. He did it for EMI also quite well. But it's a beautiful performance, and it stands alone. And I think that allows us to appreciate the music all the more. And Giulini to give it perhaps just that extra amount of love and attention that really makes it blossom. So I think this is just a stupendous performance. And if you don't know it, give it a listen. It really, if you're not into Schumann particularly or his symphonies, this may change your mind. It worked for me. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.